Hey everyone, welcome back to another OKestWeekly recap where we cover all things handheld PC gaming. It was a busy week for the ROG Ally, but that doesn't mean that there weren't updates elsewhere. We will cover the ROG Ally though, so I'll take you through the 2-hour event in about 3.5 minutes. I'll give you guys an update on the AYN Loki situation, the AYN Odin 2, and I'll give you all the information for the new GPD WinMax 2 campaign. And don't forget game sales and Boosteroid updates. If you enjoy these videos, do the OKS thing and boop that like button. And if you're new here to the channel, subscribe down below. Alright, let's dive into it. For today's Ally update, it's going to be a summary of the highlights from the ROG Ally event. If you don't have time to watch the full event, you can get the summary right here. Before we get started though, pre-orders went live in the USA very quickly, so those come in and out of stock, so make sure to check it, and Canada was a little bit delayed, so keep an eye on it, go check, and you could probably still get your device. I managed to secure one. So the first thing that I'll confirm from all the leaks is the price was accurate. It was $699 USD for the Z1 Extreme model and $599 for the Z1 model. The Z1 Extreme model is available for pre-order now and ships out as early as June 13th. Let's move on to the accessories. So first up is the ROG XG Mobile eGPU. So there's two configurations available. There's one for $799 USD, and that one has the RX 6850M XT GPU. And then there's another one for $1,999 USD, and that one has a laptop RTX 4090. Next up is the carrying case. So we only saw the soft carrying case pop up, and that one is listed for $39.99 USD, and it says coming soon. It's not currently available for purchase, so you'll have to stay tuned for that one. Next up, we've got the 65-watt charger dock, which has an HDMI port to connect to your TV and a USB-A port. That one's going for $64.99 USD, and it's coming soon. And for our last accessories, we have a pair of wireless earbuds for $99.99 USD, and that's coming soon. And then we have two controllers. There's a regular model for $99.99, and then a Pro model for $169.99. You can pre-order the Pro model right now, and you can get the regular one coming soon. Moving over to specs, all of the specs that we were suspecting are confirmed. I'll quickly recap them for you. So the APU is a Ryzen Z1 and Z1 Extreme depending on the model. The weight is 608 grams. Storage is 2230 size, M.2, and the current one available for pre-order is 512 gigabytes. We have 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM at 6400 megahertz. The display is a 7-inch 1080p 120 Hz with 500 nits of brightness. The battery is a 40 watt-hour battery. For I/O, we have one USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 port, a UHS-2 micro SD slot, headphone jack, a fingerprint sensor, and an XG mobile slot for eGPUs. Moving over to software, so we learned that the RGB lights can be changed color to whatever you'd like. You can also set it so it can react to whatever's happening in-game in select games. We got confirmation that we have hotkey support, so you can set hotkeys for different buttons, and you can have up to 2 per button. If you hold the trigger and press, let's say, X, it can be a different action than if you just press X. You can adjust the dead zones on your joystick, so that's the inner dead zone as well as the outer dead zone, and also your triggers, so you can adjust the sensitivity down where they become more like hair triggers for shooter games. Some of the other updates is that you get Game Pass Ultimate for 3 months for free. They went over the performance a little bit. Now, all that they used for measuring was teraflops, and they said that the Z1 model was 2.8 teraflops, and the Z1 Extreme was 8.6 teraflops, and they put this beside the PS5 that shows 10.3. I strongly suggest not using this for your measurement of performance, but rather look up some YouTube videos of different gameplay as well as benchmarks that are going to be coming. ETA Prime put out a video. There's going to be another one coming from Retro Game Corp. These videos are going to give you a much more accurate picture. Aside from this, there was 2 other parts to the live stream. There was the discussion between Xbox, AMD, and ASUS, followed by a podcast from the ROG Pulse. And that's the full recap and all I have for the ROG Ally this week. Let's move on to the next section. This week for the Steam Deck, as usual, we had software updates, so I'm going to go through them one by one as they all build on each other. So on May 9th, we had some updates that are mostly bug fixes and optimizations to increase performance in desktop mode. One thing that they did add is big picture mode will now return tags as well as games when you do a search. The beta update on May 10th was pretty small. It just restored display of special offers in the What's New section, as well as added the ability to filter achievements. There was another update to the beta client on May 11th that updated some UI scaling scaling issues, as well as some bugs with the overlay background and notifications. For our last update for the beta client on May 12th, we have more bug fixes, some more UI scaling fixes, as well as some work to the achievements, where now you could see an in progress section for your achievements, as well as see all achievements in the achievement panel rather than just the in-game overlay. And one last update for the Steam Deck, I came across this on Steam Deck HQ, is that Dbrand is releasing a new Tears of the Kingdom theme skin for the Steam Deck. They're calling it Clone of the Kingdom, and it costs $50 USD. And that's going to wrap it up for the Steam Deck this week. Let's move on to the next section. For AOKZOE this week, I don't have much to go over. There's a sale currently on for refurbished A1 units. You can get a 16GB 512 storage for $659 USD. I'll leave a link in the video description. The A1 Pro campaign is ongoing. As of the time of posting this video, there's 16 days left, so check it out if you're interested for the 7840U version with 32 gigs of RAM up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. And if you're waiting for a refreshed design, the A2 should be just around the corner. I don't have an exact date, but the Indiegogo campaign should go live soon. I've left a link in the description for email notifications if you're interested. And that's all I've got for AOKZOE this week, so let's move on to the next section. For OneXPlayer, it was a pretty quiet week this week. We were waiting for updates on the OneXFly, but unfortunately we didn't seem to get any this week, so hopefully next week will be the week that we learn more about the device. One other update for OneXPlayer is they've partnered with a few stores to sell the OneXPlayer in-store. It looks like they've set this up with some stores in South Korea as well as Japan. And I saw a post pop up where they were looking for connections with other countries as well, so it looks like they're trying to get the OneXPlayer to be available to purchase in-store. So we'll have to follow this and see what happens. And that's all I've got for OneXPlayer, so let's move on to the next section. We have a couple of updates for AYN this week. First up is for the Loki series. The shell mold should have gone through their first test on May 12th, and depending on how well that went, will determine whether they need to do a second test or not. If they don't need to do a second test, it looks like they're going to be able to turn things around pretty quick and hopefully get some devices to reviewers and also out to the backers sometime in May. From what I've gathered, it sounds like they're going to update everyone sometime next week, most likely on Monday. We also found out that the Loki Mini Pro will ship at the same time as the Loki Zero, which is scheduled to be 1 month after the Loki Max. That's it for Loki updates, so on to the Odin. I don't normally cover Android handhelds, but I had already seen the information, so I figured I'd pass it along. It looks like they're looking at an Odin 2, and they did a survey to see what kind of colors people would like. It's not clear on any of the specs for the device. They haven't released anything. Somebody had asked what chip they're going to use, but they weren't able to give us any answers, so we'll have to wait to find out more on that. So that's it for AYN. Hopefully we hear some good news next week and people start to get their devices soon. This week for Ayaneo, we learned that the campaign for the Ayaneo 2S and Ayaneo Geek 1S is going to be coming sometime between May 15th to 20th. You can subscribe for emails if you want to get notified. For the Geek 1S, we learned that it's only going to have an 800p screen option and comes in either white or black. We also learned that there's going to be a 64GB variant of the Ayaneo 2S or Geek 1S. We learned this from a post from Ayaneo on weeaboo.com. Yes, you did hear that correct. So hopefully we'll get to see the prices in the next week or two. But it seems like almost all the new devices are coming with 64GB options. Another bit of Ayaneo news is the Ayaneo Air speaker upgrade kit really only affects devices that were made September 15th and sooner. So if you bought your Air before that date, you may want to jump on this while you can. And if you bought after, then maybe this is something that you want to pass on. So that's going to wrap it up for Ayaneo this week, so I'll let you know when we have more information for the campaign. Let's move on to the next section. This week for GPD, the campaign for the WinMax 2 refresh has now gone live. There's two APU options you can get. There's the 7640U and the 7840U. The 7640 version has 16GB of RAM and 1TB of storage. You have the option to purchase just the device for $799 USD, or you can get a bundle that includes a eGPU and Oculink cable. The eGPU has an RX 7600M XT with 8GB of GDDR6 VRAM. For the 7840U models, there's a couple options you can go with. There's a 32GB 2TB model for $1049 USD, or you can get a 64GB 2TB model for $1199. You can also bundle the 7840 versions with the eGPU bundle, so if you do the 32GB 2TB model and you pair that up with the RX 7600M XT, that one will come to $1692 USD. Or if you want to go all out, you can get the 7840U with the 64GB of RAM and 2TB hard drive, and also get the RX 7600M XT eGPU. and that will come in at 1842 USD. The estimated shipping for all these SKUs is sometime in August of this year. One last bit of GPD news is that they don't have any plans for a 7840U version of the Win 4. I know people have been curious about that, but unfortunately right now there's no plans. And that's going to wrap it up for GPD. Let's move on to the next section. For this week's game sales, let's head over to deals.gg. So we've got a Plague Tale Innocence for $7.99, we've got Vampire for $7.99, Tales of Arise for $16.79, and we've got Sniper Elite for $20. For our best deals, we've got, and I would recommend checking this one out because I played it on PS5, I had a lot of fun with it. Check out Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's only going for $10. You can also get The Crew 2 for $5, Far Cry 6 for $10, you can get Ori and the Will of the Wisps for $5.99, as well as Watch Dogs 2 for $6.45. So it looks like Ubisoft is having a sale, so check out their store or on Steam, GOG Galaxy, or Epic Games. I'm sure they're going to be on sale on those platforms as well. For historical lows, we've got Watch Dogs Legion Deluxe for $9.03, Riders Republic Deluxe Edition for $10, and we already mentioned the ones from Ubisoft. Moving over to Steam, we have a few sales that we didn't see on deals.gg. So we've got Crusader Kings 3 for 50% off. We've got Stellaris for 75% off. Forza Horizon 5 for 45% off. And we've got Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 for 85% off. Another one you want to check out is Shadow of War. I have this game on Xbox and it was a ton of fun. So for 90% off, it's definitely a good deal to pick up. We also have Hitman 3 for 50% off and Scum for 50% off. And then we have the Call of Duty deals that we had last week that have continued. One last one is Guilty Gear for 25% off. That's going to do it for game sales. Let's move on to Boosteroid updates. This week I wanted to add Boosteroid updates, so we have a few new games entering the service. We have Black Sad, Under the Skin, Gear Club Unlimited 2 Ultimate Edition, Metal Mutation, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, Pile Up, Box by Box, and also Steel Rats. I'll keep you guys up to date on changes coming to the service as they come up. If you're curious what Boosteroid is, check out my video review of the service or check the link in the video description. And that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for watching.